This is how we roll. Take one. A scene going down. I'm talking to myself. It's not loud. Don't give me any shit. It's 5:30 in the morning.
Daniel, people are still sleeping, okay? Turn it off.
Keep your voice down, idiot.
People are still sleeping. You're a fool. God knows. You are.
You're acting a fool. Fool.
Because somebody an idiot. Then what are you? A fool?
I'm a 154 IQ fool.
Oh, please. Just continue to remain yourself.
Scene. I don't have to fight every bat for power. Coming to the baseball field. When different princes are giving their allegiance to me, and the magical bats, like in Harry Potter, are fighting for control because they haven't stripped them of their world domination. Alien subjugation. Where the general ran everything. And the general loved me. It all comes back to combat sports. And the number one combat sport is football. Which I was a king in. And then it filters down to the different suburbs and different races in different sports. Some same sport, but different sport. You know, fact, not fiction, man. You wouldn't have said anything to her. You didn't say anything to her the entire night. She was sleeping there. And then you said something to her when it was 5:30 because people are going to start filtering in here.
I did not sleep. She didn't sleep here all night.
I saw her when I went to take a piss. I saw her when I went to take a piss 3 different times sleeping there.
Okay, you see me here? You saw me. I saw her and I sent her back to her room. I didn't let her to sleep here. Not because people is coming in or not. She peed on the bed, on the couch.
She didn't pee on the couch.
You know what? That's why they changed her room in the first place. They didn't change her room because they want to change her room.
She didn't pee on the couch though.
She do pee on the bed. She pees when she's sleeping. That's
She
why they
peed.
changed.
She peed on the bed. She didn't pee on the couch.
Listen, that's why they changed her room. They didn't change her room because they want to change her room. They changed her room so.
I don't want to fight on semantics.
I'm not fighting you. I'm just telling you because you're just talking about what you don't know really what is going on. That's why they changed her room so she can be used to the bathroom because she said, oh, the bathroom is too far away. And then ask her about to sit down. If you want to sit down, that's fine with me. But don't sleep on the couch. He's somebody that cleans it up every day. It's unfair to that person. If you want to sit down, be awake, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Anyway, a story about world domination and how aliens came down and fucked everything up. And they took what was already set in place and flipped it. Because women used to be in charge and controlled shit between the men in their games, from the Highland games to the Scottish to the games that were more brutal, like the Indians when they were chopping heads off in their racquetball or lacrosse tournaments, and put men in charge to where men are now running the games, like in the Ukraine, the war there. And Dan Quinn was a prince in the football game, the number one combat sport game in America, until Lou Hiltz came along and fucked shit up. Frank Stamms. How many people bow down, Frank Stamms, when you walk into the room because you played in the NFL and at Notre Dame, when the fact is it should have been me in your shoes, people bowing down to me because I subjugated you like you were a bitch. Remember that time in the showers when I was taking a shower, and instead of taking a piss where everybody would have to deal with it on their feet, which might have been good because acetic acid kills foot germs. So I went to the toilet and then came back, and you're fucking rubbing your shoulder, your chest, your pecs, like this, looking at me, you know? And I'm like, if you want the shower that bad, keep it, scrub. And I fucking went to the back shower, and then you acted like your friends are holding you back. What? 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 You wanna fucking fight naked, punk? Put your clothes back on. Let's go out in the back of the ACC. I'll fucking wax you. Remember when I said that? So, yeah, that actually happened. And what actually happened is that a long time ago, when men were barely out of diapers and were still monkeys, aliens came down and fucked with us and changed the sport Lights, camera, action. Change the sport from women being in control of men's games to men being in control of men's games. I just had a dream that if they made it into a movie, it'd be wonderful. And I came out here and tried to talk it through instead of writing it through. And then I get jumped by this monkey over here verbally. And it kind of swatted me out of my pattern, like Harry Potter on one of his flying brooms, a Quidditch stick. And I'm back on course. Dan Quinn has been a prince wherever he's touched ground. I touched down in Sacramento, and I somehow aligned myself with whoever was at the top of what I was doing at the time. It just happened to be methamphetamine, but I aligned myself with people that ran that shit. What's up, Jimbo? Love you, brother. From another mother. Get your mom on stevia. Have her put stevia in water, blend, pour that white soup it turns into a see-through glass. Or is that what glass denotes? That you can see through it. And wait for the water to form underneath all that soap. Have her take a straw, bypass the soap, drink the better water, throw the soap out, rinse and repeat, and she'll go from stage 4 to cured in blazing speed. I got love for you, Jimbo. Like you're my older brother. You're too young to be my uncle, or not really, depending on if it was, you're like a half brother. But when I get back to Sacramento, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back over to your place and tell you I'm sorry for taking all that shit out of your Jaguar. I wanted to buy that car so bad. Anyway, yeah, me talking to the general and then meeting Ron. Trippy story. And me talking to the Norteños when I was locked up in the branch, having Grumpy come up to me and say, "Hey Holmes, Richard Duran says you're pretty cool, so know this, if anything jumps off with the beep Iggers, know that the Norteños got your back." That was a big one. It was a big one because it never should have been started in the first place, because I was sleeping during the day. I was in Purple Dorm, the dorm that runs notices to and from, and we have to work at night too. So people who sleep during the day shouldn't have to listen to slap of dominoes 2 cots over, an obvious attempt to stick it in by this brother that didn't have the nuts to stand up and say, "You know what, I don't like you, I'm gonna fight you." So I woke up and I said, hey, can you take that game somewhere else? And he got smart with me. And I say, if I have to say it one more time, I'm not saying it one more time. I'm going to get off this bunk, get down off this bunk, and beat your ass. And he turned that into a racial thing at the branch. And it turned into a potential white versus black thing because some black punk couldn't fucking stand up and take an ass whipping on his own. He wanted to get all his brothers involved. And so Grumpy from Norteños came up and he said, yeah, Richard Durant says you're hella cool, so know this. If anything jumps off with the Niggers, the Norteños got your back. That was a big one. It really was. That doesn't happen to just anybody, but it happened to Dan Quinn. Just like when I got fired at Notre Dame. That doesn't happen to everybody, but it happened to Dan Quinn. It happened to Dan Quinn, so Dan Quinn could actually go out into the world and meet different people and realize, you know what, there's a lot of really cool, worthy people out in the world, not just athletes. There's a lot of cool athletes. There's a lot of assholes who are athletes too, like Joe Montana. The McGanns, who were your receiving family at Notre Dame, they told me you were an asshole. Your own family at Notre Dame told me you're an asshole. And when I heard it from somebody that worked at the Embers, they said that they heard you, not heard that you, but heard you clowning a dude that came up for your autograph. And he was like, you know, Joe, just want to say, I've been a fan forever. And you were like, hey, Tex. And the guy was Mexican with a cowboy hat. And he was going, hey, Tex, you didn't know that guy was a sniper in Vietnam and could have killed you. And you heard him to the point where he was in tears. Hey, Tex. Yeah, Joe Montana. I heard from two sources independently verifiable that you're a cocksucking asshole, and the only saving grace was that you got put into the West Coast offense, because had you been into a typical drop back offense, you wouldn't have been shit. That's how coaches can make or break people. Make or break Frank Stamms by putting Cedric Figueroa on the other side, where the team has to worry about a first-round draft pick at rush end instead of your regular Dave Butler type guy. No offense, Dave, but you couldn't hold my jockstrap, Dave Butler. We both knew it. I should have been on the field with Cedric Figueroa, 2 first-round draft picks, playing at the same time. We would have been the finest defense to ever play football, especially if Lou Holtz puts Marty Lippincott at nose tackle. We would have been the finest defensive unit to ever play college football when we played West Virginia, had Lou Holtz not kicked me out the team and not set Marty Lippincott on the bench, because I personally saw film in high school when Jerry Faust was recruiting me of Marty Lippincott destroying Tony Siragusa in a high school football game, and Jerry Faust told me, look, if you come to Notre Dame, you're going to be coming with Marty. I'm going to put you on the same defensive line, and you'll comprise the finest defensive front in football that college football has ever seen. And I'm like, I can dig that. And then I signed with USC, and then USC didn't get me a job, Russ Purnell, for 4.5 months in a 3-month summer when my family is all about money and it's ticking. The time is ticking and it's almost at 20. Well, I'm going to run it. Yeah, Russ Purnell. It was because of you that I wasn't on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Because if I was at USC making the play, I'm on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Yeah, I'm not fired. So, Russ Purnell, because of you, thank you for me having my kids. Because you drove me away from USC. I go to Notre Dame. Lou Holtz fires me for making the greatest stop in the history of Notre Dame. So nobody knows who Dan Quinn is, except for people that I played in high school and summer college. Like Cedric Figueroa knows that I should have been in the pros. Andy Heck probably knows that I should have been in the pros, although I went 50% against Andy Heck because I liked him and I knew that I was on the scrub defense. Oh well. Anyways, I got to cut this down because people are starting to get up and get out. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya if you're on the receiving end of my wrath when I'm rich and famous.